Hello everyone, it's Hannah here from Virtually Fluent. Today we're looking at one of the most complex grammar topics in English, which is phrasal verbs. I know I can hear your heart beating faster as I speak. Students put so much effort into learning a list of phrasal verbs and all their definitions, but actually very few students learn the theory behind phrasal verbs, the different types of phrasal verbs that exist, and this really helps you use all those new phrasal verbs in a sentence correctly in English. That's what we're going to look at today. However, you can also check out our phrasal verbs pronunciation and top tips for learning videos. These are also on our YouTube channel. You can check those out if you're looking for something different. So we are going to use this example sentence, my car broke down. If you have a terrible situation and your car has broken down. Now this verb here in pink is what we call a phrasal verb. To break down, in the past simple, broke down. So a phrasal verb is not really that different to a normal verb because it's conjugated in exactly the same way. To break, it's in the past simple and it's conjugated according to the subject. So this doesn't change. The only difference is we have this extra little particle, which could be either an adverb or a preposition, depending on the type of phrasal verb. And that is the only difference between a normal verb and a phrasal verb. Now, the reason phrasal verbs are so complicated is because we can change the particle to something completely different, and it actually totally changes the meaning of the original verb. So to break down, your car stops working. It is not functioning anymore. You can actually get away with completely avoiding phrasal verbs in English because there are always different ways to express a phrasal verb, normally using a pretty solid, simple, single verb in English. Phrasal verbs are a lot more informal in everyday conversation. We use these so much, so it is important to understand them. So we know that to break down means that something stops working, but take a look at this sentence. The robber broke into my house. To break into, we've just changed that particle from down to into, and the meaning is totally changed. This means someone enters my house illegally and perhaps steals something. Or if I say I broke up with my boyfriend, now we change the particle to up, and this means separated from my boyfriend. So it's really important that we learn the correct particles in these phrasal verbs in English. Now, when we learn about verbs, any verb, not just phrasal verbs, we learn that there are two different types. We have intransitive and transitive verbs, and this is essential to know when you're learning a phrasal verb. You can find all this information in an online dictionary. Research a phrasal verb, it will tell you, is it transitive or intransitive? Now, the example that we saw earlier, my car broke down, is a perfect example of an intransitive verb. This is a verb that does not require an object. When I say my car broke down, I can put a full stop. I don't need any extra information. We don't really need to talk about the person receiving the action. Another example, I woke up at 10 a.m. Do you want to join in? Wake up, join in. Both of these are intransitive verbs. Now, the opposite of these is transitive verbs, and these must use an object. Please do not forget the object in the sentence. Native speakers will be waiting for you to finish the sentence if you don't insert an object. For example, I'll take off my shoes. We need that object. We can't say I'll take off what? What will you take off? My shoes. Another example might be I count on my mum. I rely, I trust my mum. Or I have brought up my children. All of these verbs are transitive. They require an object. So that's the key difference between intransitive verbs and transitive. Intransitive, no object, and transitive must have an object. So the intransitive verbs are actually relatively easy. When it comes to transitive verbs, we have two subcategories as well. We have inseparable and we have separable transitive verbs. Let's take a look. So if we look at a separable phrasal verb, these are also called flexible phrasal verbs. This means that we can insert the object in between the verb and the particle, or it can go after, at the end. You can choose. Both of them are grammatically correct. You can choose what feels native to you. For example, I'll take off my shoes, so the object is at the end, or I'll take my shoes off. The object is in the middle. You can choose. Call the picnic off, call off the picnic. You can choose. And again, when you research a new phrasal verb online using an online dictionary, you will also find this information. If not, you need to research it to see if this is correct. Now, the only rule that we need to learn about these separable, flexible, transitive phrasal verbs is that if the object is not the name of something, if it is an object pronoun, me, you, him, her, it, us, and them, only in this situation, if it is an object pronoun, it cannot go at the end. It must only be placed in the middle. Just a little rule that we need to learn. For example, we cannot say, I'll take off them. We must say, I'll take them off. We cannot say, call off it. We can only say, call it off. Now, the inseparable transitive phrasal verbs are inseparable. It means the object can only ever be placed immediately after the verb and the particle. These are generally prepositional verbs, not phrasal verbs, but that's just a technical difference. For example, I always count on my mum. We would never say count my mum on. It's always count on my mum. The object is after. Some more examples might be let's go over the exam together, and I like listening to music. Now we have lots of different particles that we could use. These are the most common ones. I'm going to look at the general situations when each particle, each preposition could be used. However, these are generalizations. At the end of the day, you need to learn the correct verb with the correct particle and which definition that has. So we generally use up to physically mean up, so something has increased, a level has increased, to bring up, to catch up, to fill up. We also use this to make small pieces. For example, to break up, to chop up, to cut up, and also to complete or to finish something. For example, clear up, tidy up, hang up. Now, down is the exact opposite, so this also has that physical meaning of down, to decrease the level. Calm down, lie down, cut down. It also has the meaning that you reduce something so much that it actually stops. For example, to shut down, to close down. And a rather random example is to physically write something down on paper. For example, put down, write down, take down. The next common preposition is in, and this generally has the physical meaning of in, so move into, inside, or stay in that location. For example, break in, eat in, pull in, drop in, take in, rub in. And out is the opposite, which is leaving, moving, or even staying out, outside. For example, ask out, check out, get out. We also use out to say an activity has stopped. For example, back out, drop out, give out. On also has that physical meaning on top of something. For example, have on, put on, try on, and also to continue. Carry on, keep on, pass on. The next one is off, which is to remove. This could be from a location or an object. Send off, run off, take off. This also means to stop or to change state. For example, to switch off, shut off, turn off. The next preposition is away, and this means in the opposite direction. To come away, to get away, to throw away, and also to stop. Die away, eat away, pass away. Back is generally used to return. Check back, come back, pay back. And we have round and about, which can generally be changed, and this is something that has a very relaxed approach. For example, to walk around, to wander around, to lie around. These are just general ideas. At the end of the day, you will have to learn the correct phrasal verbs and their particles. So hopefully this theory of phrasal verbs will help you use them in the correct position in a sentence and understand exactly why we're using a particular type of phrasal verb, where the object goes in the sentence. You can practice the topic of phrasal verbs using our very own online course. You can find the link to this in the description below, with lots of fun games, activities, and further explanations and worksheets too. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media. If you learned something today, go ahead and give us a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Help us grow, and we'll make a lot more videos with English grammar, vocabulary and pronunciation, as well as British grammar and, in general, everyday life in the UK. This is Hannah from Virtually Fluent, bringing English to life.